Many people might be surprised to learn that between 55 and 60% of their property taxes directly support the local K-12 public school district. And they probably also don't know that the governing authority levying those taxes is the local school board. But both of those things are true. And they should be true if we want a high-quality public education system over which the local voters have the maximum possible control. Now, the taxpayers that fund the Kentwood Public School Board and the parents that entrust their children to the district rightly expect that the school district's resources support a single focus mission, and that is to best prepare our children to be self-sufficient adults in a globally competitive society. In the case of the Kentwood Public School District, this is at least 18 separate facilities, a teaching and support staff of just under 1,400 employees, and a current budget in excess of $87 million. All of this is supporting a current enrollment of 8,780 students. Now, in my opinion, the school board's first and foremost responsibility is the effective management and oversight of those resources. Anything that doesn't directly and efficiently support the school district's focus, in my opinion, doesn't deserve so much as one penny of tax money. Management and oversight is something that I know a bit about, because all but the first 7 years of my professional career were spent in one management position or another. I'm running for the Kentwood Public School Board because I know that local governments in this state are going to have to make a lot of tough choices over the next 2 to 4 years. And I have no problem with the buck stopping right here. Anyone who's been following the budget debates in Lansing and Washington is probably aware that local governments, including the school board, are going to have to make some very tough fiscal choices in the coming months. It's my belief that we have to get as far ahead of the curve as possible on these financial issues and adjust our district's planning accordingly. Last year, the Kentwood Public School Board authorized the appropriation of $2.5 million from an accumulated prior year surplus of over $12.2 million. This wasn't to pay off debt or to fund a special project or even to cover an emergency need. It was to finance operating and personnel expenses for the 2010-2011 school year. And at last week's regular meeting of the board, we discussed the possible state budget issues and how they would affect the local school district. And what concerned me was that a worst-case scenario of a $10 million deficit was what was presented. Now, because of the complete lack of effective executive leadership on both sides of the political aisle in Lansing for the better part of the past decade, right now the state of Michigan is looking at a fiscal train wreck that is going to take a lot of pain for the next 2 years to recover from. But if we're smart about it, we're only going to need those 2 years. We have to be willing to think outside the box. We have to be honest with ourselves about where we've got waste in our budget, and we have to make the tough decisions accordingly. And then we have to have the courage to stick to those decisions and be faithful to them, because resistance is going to be coming. Around 430 BC, a man by the name of Pericles was quoted as saying, "We don't say that a man who takes no interest in politics is a man who minds his own business. We say that he has no business here at all. Just because you don't take an interest in politics does not mean politics will not take an interest in you." I agree with that statement because it supports something else that I've believed for a very long time, and that's that if you want to make a difference, then the first thing you have to do is get involved. Bill Joseph, who is stepping down and is the man whose shoes I seek to fill, lived that principle for the past 16 years in this school district. And it's going to be a challenge to fill his shoes and live up to that legacy. I'm comfortable with that challenge. I won't always do the same things that Mr. Joseph did, and when I do, I won't always do them the same way he did them. But what I will always do is look out for the best interests of the children that are entrusted to our school district's care, and always seek to provide the best possible value for the taxpayers that fund our school district. What I'm going to do is identify what is working so that we can replicate it, reinforce it, and encourage its continued use. I'm also going to identify what isn't working so that if necessary we can defund it and remove it unless it can be economically made to work. My name is Kevin Rex Heine. I am running for the Kentwood Public School Board, and if you live in that district, then I am asking for your vote on May 3rd.